and made promises that touched my heart. I believed every word because I wanted to believe. I thought I had found someone rare, but behind that gentle smile, there was a man I didn't really know, a man hiding secrets that would one day break me. What started as a love story quickly turned into a lesson I'll never forget. Let me tell you everything from the beginning. It all began at my friend's wedding. The hall was bright and full of joy. Everyone was laughing, dancing, eating, and celebrating love. I wore my favorite dress and had spent hours getting ready. The music played loudly, and I was having the time of my life with my friends. We danced, we took pictures, and we enjoyed the moment. Then, in the middle of all that happiness, I noticed someone standing alone near the back of the hall. He was tall, well-dressed, and incredibly handsome. But he wasn't dancing or smiling like everyone else. He was just standing quietly, observing everything. His eyes kept landing on me. I felt his gaze more than once, but he never approached me. He didn't say a word, just watched. There was something mysterious about him. Calm, serious, almost unreadable. I wondered who he was. A relative of the bride, a friend of the groom. No one I asked seemed to know. Still, I didn't pay much attention. The night went on, and I danced and laughed like nothing was out of the ordinary. I remember thinking, that man probably won't even remember me. But 2 days later, I got a message on my phone. "Hi, I saw you at the wedding. Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a moment, confused. "Who is this?" I replied. "I'm the man from the wedding," he wrote. "You looked beautiful. I want to get to know you." I was surprised. I didn't expect him to reach out, especially not like this. But there was something about his words, direct, respectful, and confident. I felt curious, so I replied, "Okay, we can talk." That's how it started. What began as a simple message became hours of texting. He was so kind, so polite. He said things like, "You're different. You're special. I've never felt this way before." We talked about everything: family, life, dreams, fears. It felt like we had known each other forever. He made me feel important, like I was the only woman in the world. We texted nonstop for 2 days. I went to sleep with a smile and woke up excited to see his messages. I felt like something magical was happening. It was too fast, but I didn't want to stop. He was gentle with his words, honest, or at least I thought he was. Then, on the 3rd day, he said something that made me freeze. "I want to marry you," he wrote. "I see you as my wife, the mother of my children." My heart skipped a beat. I didn't know how to respond. "But we don't even know each other," I replied. "I don't need time," he said. "My heart already knows. You are the one." His words were powerful, maybe foolish, but they were full of emotion, and I believed him. That was the beginning of it all, the moment that changed everything. It had only been a few days since we started talking, but every word from him felt like poetry. He made me feel seen, heard, and wanted in a way no one else ever had. He didn't waste time with games or confusion. He spoke with purpose, with passion. Then suddenly, just 3 days after our first message, he said the words that stopped my heart. "I want to marry you," he wrote. "I see you as my wife, the mother of my children. Please say yes." I sat there in silence, staring at the screen, unsure how to respond. It felt too soon, too fast. We had only just started talking, but at the same time, his messages had been so genuine, so warm. He didn't flirt like other men. He didn't speak of temporary feelings. He spoke of you yet, I replied carefully. But I know you, he said. I know your heart. I've been waiting for someone like you all my life. His words were bold and maybe a little crazy, but they touched something deep inside me. A part of me wanted to believe in love at first sight. A part of me thought, what if this is real? I felt swept up in a wave of emotions. No one had ever spoken to me like this before. He made me feel special, rare, chosen. He kept saying, just give me a chance. I promise I'll make you the happiest woman in the world. And somehow, despite the voice in my head warning me to slow down, I said yes. Everything happened quickly after that. There was no long engagement, no months of planning, just a small, simple wedding with close family and friends. I wore a modest white dress, and he wore a black suit with a soft smile. He looked proud, calm, and happy. On our wedding day, he held my hand tightly and whispered, "You'll never regret this." At that moment, I believed him. The first weeks of marriage felt like a dream. He was everything I had imagined and more. He woke up early to make me tea, surprised me with small gifts, and always found new ways to make me smile. He called me beautiful every day and said things like, "I don't deserve you," or "You've changed my life." He wasn't just a good husband. He was attentive, affectionate, and full of love. He remembered little things I told him and would bring up those details later in the sweetest ways. When I was tired, he helped without asking. When I was quiet, he noticed. His kindness made me feel safe, seen, and loved. We spent evenings walking in the park, watching movies, talking about our future. We dreamed together about children, about travel, about a happy life. I thought I had found the man I would grow old with. Everyone around me said we looked perfect together, and I felt lucky, truly lucky. Not long after, we had our first child, a boy. He held him in his arms with tears in his eyes and said, "He's our little king." A few years later, our daughter was born. He kissed her forehead and called her my princess. To the outside world, we were a happy family. Smiling photos, joyful birthdays, peaceful dinners. And for a while, we really were. But sometimes, even in the happiest stories, cracks begin to show. And in mine, those cracks were coming. Slowly, silently. I just didn't see them yet. At first, everything seemed perfect. But slowly, things began to change. He became distant. Not all at once, but little by little. The sweet words became less frequent. The warm gestures faded. He no longer looked at me the same way. He spent more time on his phone, always smiling at the screen. But when I asked, "Who are you talking to?" he'd quickly say, "Just a friend," and put the phone away. He stopped including me in conversations. He would leave the room to take calls. He began coming home late, blaming work or traffic. I wanted to believe him. I told myself, he's just tired. Things will get better. But deep down, I felt it. Something was wrong. He no longer gave me attention. He didn't ask how my day was. He avoided eye contact and barely touched me. Most of all, he never let me near his phone, not even for a second. I started feeling like a stranger in my own marriage. Still, I stayed silent. I had 2 children. I hoped things would change. One night, everything fell apart. He left his phone on the table and stepped into the other room. My hands were shaking, my heart pounding. I picked up the phone, and what I saw shattered me. There were messages, romantic, deep, full of love. Not for me, but for another woman. He called her my love, my queen, my everything. He sent her pictures. He She had 3 children. Her husband worked abroad. But the most painful truth, he had been seeing her even before we got married. And all through our marriage, he never stopped. While I raised his children, he was spending nights with her, buying her gifts, taking her children to the park, giving her the life he promised me. My world fell apart in seconds. The man I trusted had betrayed me from the start. When he came home that night, I was waiting, holding his phone in my hand. My face was wet with tears, my heart crushed. He looked at me and froze. "What is this?" I asked, voice shaking. "Who is she? Why are you doing this to me?" He didn't deny it. He didn't even try to lie. Instead, he dropped to his knees and said, "I'm sorry. Please, I made a mistake. I didn't mean to hurt you." I shouted. I cried. I begged for answers. He gave none, just empty promises and desperate apologies. "Please don't leave me," he said. "Think about the kids. They need their father. I swear I'll change." I didn't know what to do. My heart was broken, but my children were everything to me. I didn't want them to grow up without their father. So against my own pain, I agreed to give him one more chance, for them, not for him. We tried again. We smiled in front of the kids. We acted like a family. But inside, I was numb. The love I had for him was broken. Still, I hoped. Maybe he'd change. Maybe he'd keep his promise. But history has a cruel way of repeating itself. Just 2 months later, the same signs returned. Late nights, secretive texts, sudden meetings he couldn't explain. I started watching quietly, waiting. And then one afternoon, I saw it with my own eyes. He was in his car, with her, laughing, talking, like nothing had ever happened, like I didn't exist. My hands shook, my chest burned. I felt like I was breaking all over again. That night, he came home and acted as if nothing was wrong. He smiled. He kissed the children. Then he looked at me and said, "You're the best wife in the world. I'm lucky to have you." I stared at him in silence. He was lying again. I had given him a second chance, and he had thrown it away. The same lies, the same betrayal. My heart couldn't take it anymore. I knew then. I couldn't live this life again. I had to break free, for myself, for my children. That night, after seeing him with her again, something inside me changed. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just knew I was done. No more lies. No more fake apologies. No more hoping he would become someone he never was. I packed a small bag and took my children to my parents' house. I didn't explain everything, just said I needed time. I stayed silent for weeks, trying to find the strength to decide what to do next. He came again, begging for forgiveness like before. He stood at the door with flowers, with tears, with promises. But this time, I didn't believe a word. I had given him my heart once. I had given him a second chance, and he had broken both. I knew I couldn't stay in that house, in that village, surrounded by memories and whispers. I had to leave. I had to start over, not just for me, but for my children. They deserved a better life. I deserved peace. So I made the hardest decision of my life. I left the country. me like that again. Now, when I look back, I feel many things. Pain, yes, but also pride. I lost my love, but I found my strength. I learned that love is not about words or gifts. It's about truth, respect, and loyalty. He gave me none of those. But through that heartbreak, I discovered who I really am. A woman who stood up. A mother who protected her children. A person who chose herself, even when it was hard. I don't regret my past. It taught me everything I needed to know about love, life, and courage. And now, as I rebuild myself, I hold my head high. Because sometimes, walking away is the strongest thing you can do.